It's getting kind of tough for me to complain about a lack of arcade racing games in this generation of consoles now. This year alone, we've seen Trailblazers, Onrush, Gravel, All-Stars Fruit Racing, and now Horizon Chase Turbo and Sonic Team Racing coming later this winter, so people like me who are generally happy with 1 or 2 arcade racers a year are getting an excellent selection of these games right now. It's safe to say that the arcade racing genre is not just alive and well, but now I'd say it's healthier than it's been in a long time. Horizon Chase Turbo is about as excellent an example of this as you can hope to find. What started as a relatively small mobile game from several years ago has been revamped for PS4 and PC, and while its mobile game DNA is still really visible in some ways, the bare bones nature of its original form does work pretty well with the fact that the game is a complete and total love letter to simpler racing games of the late 80s and early 90s. The graphics and art style certainly let you know this right up front with a charming low polygon look and ultra-saturated colors. It's certainly as fun to look at as it is to play. Horizon Chase Turbo really makes you feel like you're playing one of those older games, like Outrun and Hard Drivin', with its rolling hills, the sharp turns, and the repeating patterns of objects in the background. The game adheres to these rules so well, in fact, that it almost hurts the experience overall with its shallow nature. Yeah, there's lots of cars and tracks as well as tournament and endurance modes, but it won't take you long to notice that the amount of combinations one can have of so few elements while still feeling fresh is exceeded rather quickly. There's only so many times you can mix up color palettes and other basic characteristics until the charm of that look wears off a bit, but thankfully the driving itself is so sharp, the challenge so well balanced, and the sheer amount of content so prolific that most hints of repetitiveness were fleeting for me, even in extended play sessions. Although generally, I would say that the game will probably shine brightest in very short bursts for most players. You can't really make a game with this late 80s, early 90s style without a great soundtrack, and Horizon Chase Turbo does a more than respectable job delivering some exceptional music tracks. I definitely didn't love them all though. A fair amount of the tracks feel a little bit like they're missing something. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's like some of them just lack a melody and they just ride out the bass line and the middle voices and the drums, and as a result, some of the songs kind of give off the vibe that they don't ever quite get to wherever it was they were trying to go. That being said, they are well mixed and well produced, and if you play the game enough, you'll catch yourself humming a few of them well after you put the game down. In my opinion, it's not an outstanding soundtrack, but it does get the point across and it has some bright spots here and there. The racing itself is very tight and very tense. I often found the beginning of the races to be the most difficult part, as you have to navigate through the densely packed herd of the first 10 cars or so before they start thinning out and giving you more room to maneuver. It always does feel good to get ahead of the pack though and focus on the last handful of opponents. Gas canisters, coins that give you a better score, and additional boosts are all things that you can pick up along the way in most races, gas being the most important in the later ones. Coins bring in some nice replay value to each track if you want to go for a perfect score. Upgrades are handled in an interesting way, giving you your choice of an upgrade type after certain special races, whether that be for speed, handling, boost, acceleration, etc. Unlike most racing games though, upgrades generally affect all of your cars at once, so instead of dumping all of your upgrades into 1 or 2 cars throughout the game and leaving all others behind as you progress, you end up slowly bending all of the cars towards your own playstyle, which is a smart way to keep every vehicle a viable option all the way through the game. Horizon Chase Turbo lives and dies by the sword of simplicity. Depending on your tastes, your mileage may vary. Where certain gamers might see purity and clarity in its concept, others may see kind of a flat, hollow experience. Neither opinion would be objectively wrong or right, and the truth for most is probably somewhere in the middle. But for me, it scratches an itch that few games these days are willing to go after so directly. This game knows where it belongs in the racing genre, and it's not afraid to admit it. What it lacks in variety and depth, it more than makes up for with precision and passion. It might not be for everybody, but the audience it does aim for should be more than pleased with what it is.